Well, Phelan, the Irish powerhouse, have done it. They've taken game number 1 in this series, and it's time to find out whether they can turn that into more. But before we jump into the second game of the series, I do want to give a quick shout out to our wonderful sponsor, HyperX, over there. Orcs is behind Orcs, that one. Obviously, the SSD sponsor for Forge of Champions. They gave us all the SSDs for finals, and they're continuing to support the UK scene as well. But as we jump into...
We don't have it. Yeah, we had some on the stage. You had...
There was a ghost behind him, I think, or something. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so we're jumping on into this next game in the series. Phelan 1-0 up. We both predicted Nvision. What happened, Orcs?
I mean, I think it was... Nvision showed signs of life, but it just wasn't there completely. There were definitely moments where they just weren't convincing, and I think Phelan just had a really explosive composition. They knew in the mid-game was their strength, and I think... Although it was a solid early from Nvision, they kind of stopped thinking about where the enemy team spiked. And that was absolutely in the mid-game. They tried to challenge them, and they fell apart.
Also, it felt like there was just no way to shut a Chew down. He was sat there, Jeppe sitting on his shoulder as well, just throwing out so much poke. And it felt like Nvision just literally didn't have an answer for that Ezreal-Yuumi combo that was just terrorizing them in the mid lane.
Yeah, which I completely agree with. And it begs the question because they left that ban open. That could have been the Yuumi. And it feels like there was a bit of a brain slip there where they thought, you know, there's nothing we really are threatened by. The Yuumi, definitely one of those champions, because I think without that, it would have been a very different game.
Quite possibly, and we'll see if that's going to come through. I would expect that to be first rotation of bans this time around, or a first pick, could be.
I'm not sure. I think that there's definitely answers to it. I think the real issue was the fact that it got left that late. If it gets left that late in the draft, you're not in a position to answer it. And so as a result, they didn't have the tools. They were completely reliant on... Because normally you take something like Nautilus. So Nautilus is really... Or Volibear. So Volibear is really strong because you can interrupt as dash in between. Nautilus is strong is because you just ult whoever Yuumi's on top of. There's no sort of way to outplay it.
Double value CC.
Proper panned on the Thresh. The burden was on him to land his hooks on the target with the Yuumi. And I'm going to be honest, it wasn't a great game for him. He just wasn't able to connect in a ton of situations. Definitely lacking. So if he goes in the Thresh again, I'd like to hopefully see him step it up a bit. But if he moves on to something else, I think that there are champions that can more reliably punish, and you're not as reliant on hit the sort of god hooks that you expect from the likes of Mad Life.
Well, one player on Nvision that definitely did step up during this game was Artorias in the top lane. He had multiple petrifying gazers that were just exceptional, multiple team fights where he was able to really have an impact, but unfortunately wasn't ahead enough to the point where he could have such an impact in these fights that they were winnable just from his impact alone.
Yeah, I got to agree with that. I think he had a strong performance. He showed a lot of tenacity, but you've got to say that he did pick a champion that was more scaling, and when it joined team fights with the TP, it was often too late. It was very much I make a big impact, but I'm not there soon enough. So I would honestly prefer to see him on something that can make the sort of instantaneous impact. Because Beatrice in the Snarl, lane phase wasn't the best what you expected from the matchup, but then he would join the fight later on, be able to TP in, hit that mega, be a massive force to be reckoned with.
We'll see if that's something that we see out of Beatrice. Obviously, things like the Pantheon being taken away, I think limits the amount of impact Beatrice is able to have. Unfortunately, he didn't have the greatest Gnar ultimates either, the one in the mid game. It didn't impact the game, but missing that Gnar ultimate when everyone's next to a wall, if you're in a closer situation, is going to turn a team fight. So maybe that was just one little mess up, but...
the argument you can make is maybe he's just trying to throw them closer to his team, so he doesn't get the stun. But either way, it ended up working out well. But you can nitpick, you can choose. At the end of the day, Phelan get that win in game 1, Nvision back to the drawing board, but they're definitely signs of life. They're just areas they need to work on.
I mean, I don't want to go too I'm not going to flame my boy Beartree. Like, he played well on the Gnar. It's not like it was one individual thing right there, but it was more Artorias as well in the early game when they had that 1v1, managing to dodge every single stun. Just exceptional movement coming out from him. But Cassiopeia actually going to be banned away on the blue side here from Nvision. Yeah,
so Nvision not wanting to give it over, not wanting to first pick it themselves, so denying it, clearly seeing the strength from that. And remember, it was, although a pick for Artorias in the top lane, it was a denial pick away from Chimera, something that he is confident on. Phelan again going to go in a similar position with that ban onto Lucian, and despite Nvision having the choice of sides because they obviously lost game 1, they are choosing to stay on the same side in this game. So clearly respecting that they definitely had advantages in that game. They definitely could have won it, but there were things that shut that down, and they are banning away the LeBlanc as well away from Chimera. So heavily hammer away at his champion pool.
All right, Jarvan taken off of the board as well. Denied away from Antero there. I'm curious whether things like the Nocturne are going to be used again here from the side of Nvision, because obviously it was something that they picked relatively early in the draft last time. It had some good moments, but just was not able to have anywhere near the impact it needed to.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely strong in the early game, and just later on, when you're up against Ezreal Yuumi, I felt like Antero wasn't confident enough to go onto them, and he just get poked down, and when you're getting poked down, there's nothing really you can massively do. Now, Nvision, just go over to what they want to first pick. They did take the Syndra as a first pick last time, but opted instead to deny the Lee Sin from Soft and take that for Antero. Question to be what will Soft play, and with Olaf off the table.
Yeah, could see the Skarner. Skarner is something that Soft played a ton during the Gauntlet. It was basically Skarner and Olaf were pretty much his two champions during the Gauntlet.
You could. Personally, I'd prefer to see something on the lines of Olaf, or, I'm sorry, not Olaf, Gragas or Elise.
Yeah.
Soft is keen on the Elise, and especially when you picked up this Syndra, it's a really devastating combo, and it can go more toe-to-toe. Skarner is a strong pick, but you're waiting for a longer time before you can really impact the map, and I feel like, for me, Soft is a player who wants to be able to impact the map as soon as he's hit that level 3 point.
Yeah, it depends whether he wants to go for the earlier spike or the more comfortable pick. Rek'Sai, though, also very strong jungler, but also very good against Lee Sin specifically.
Yeah, good matchup specifically there. A lot of execute combined with the Syndra. And as I said before, this is a flex. Achu is someone who will play mages consistently in the bot lane. It means it's very up in the air as to which lane it's going into. And then it flies over to Nvision. Remember, we did see a lot of success on the Pyke earlier this year, and a composition that Phelan played himself is the Pyke Veigar. Nvision going to pick it up here. We have seen the Veigar actually banned away today.
Yeah.
So
Veigar is absurdly strong right now. If you have the right player on that champion, especially if you can run the Glacial Augment. There are other options as well, but the amount of utility that this pick offers on top of the damage that you
the big thing for me is the buffs to the Cage. So Cage now at max rank, which you're going to hit at level 13. If you have Glacial Augment, that 45% CDR, your Cage is on a 6.6 second cooldown. It lasts 3 seconds, it stuns for 2.5, but every 6.5 seconds, you're putting a new Cage down. It's so oppressive to deal with, so I really like this pickup from Nvision. The Pyke has great synergy with it because you can pull them into the Cage. They both have executes. And the response from Jeppe is going to be that Thresh, but you can lantern someone. If you're quick enough, you can get them out the Cage before it sets, but it's a very tight window to do so. But again, Phelan going for a lot of early to mid-game pressure.
I kind of like the Thresh, though, just coming out from Jeppe House specifically, because he's like, Proper Panda, that's not how you play Thresh, my friend. Let me show you how to play Thresh. Taking his opponent's pickup here, and we'll see how he's going to be able to use that for himself up against the likes of this Pyke down in that bottom side. But now onto the bans, both focused towards the top lane so far.
Yeah, Aurelia getting taken away, which is actually a mid and top lane ban.
Both, yeah.
And then the Gangplank, something that Battery is very keen on playing. Puts a lot of pressure down towards the bot side, which is important because we have seen a Thresh obviously is going to be in the bot lane. The Syndra could as well be, and it's something I've said before. You're picking the Syndra, the Thresh helps, so you're able to lantern the Syndra away if she gets into a tricky situation. Gangplank could definitely make those situations tricky. And both of these top laners players, so it's interesting to see it banned away, but I believe that's because Phelan, they have the priority, and I expect to see Phelan take that top laner in this first pick, so they keep that Syndra as a flex.
Yeah, a lot of power taken out of this top lane. The Camille, it's been a highlight pick of the day when it came to the first series. We saw Only Angel tearing up the top lane on that Camille. And Aatrox actually banned away. We saw Phelan hovering it. This was a staple pick for Bear Tree, despite heavy, heavy nerfs on the Aatrox. Nvision saying they still think Bear Tree might pick it.
I mean, to be honest, like, the main nerfs was obviously the wave clear and his passive sustain. If you get to team fights, he's still the same champion. He's still going to be an absolute monster, and as I expected, they're going to pick up the Gnar here so they can keep that Syndra as a flex. They're confident for Battery to blind it, and the Cassiopeia isn't there available for an option for Artorias to match up into it. Now it comes down to what Nvision are going to lock up in response. A lot of top lane has been taken off the cards. Yep. Things like a Relic, which are good into the Gnar. And I think it might end up just being a Yordle vs Yordle matchup. Both in range, both of them able to go toe-to-toe. But more team fighting power from that cannon. But instead, moving towards the Kayle. So this is something that originally when Kayle got reworked, Artorias played a ton of it. Like an absolute ton. Even played it a bit in competitive during the spring split, but a lot in solo queue. Since the changes, she is more viable. You can obviously hit those spikes sooner. but this is still technically a flex. It could go mid, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Artorias take it himself, and then...
And it kind of follows that storyline of Artorias so far in that, you know, game 1, he locked in the Cassiopeia for himself so he could carry. Kale is definitely a pick you can carry on later in the game.
Absolutely is, and we see the Ezreal come out. So
Vigar
I went
mid.
into this situation assuming it's going to be Vigar, Pyke bot lane. I really preferred that. I really think that was the better matchup to have, and in the end, they end up taking the Ezreal. I mean, in some sort of crazy world, it could be an Ezreal mid, but I doubt it. But in response, it's going to be a Kai'Sa in the bot lane, so neither team wanting to use the flexibility of these mages, putting them in the bot side. We'll have to see where everything plays out. I think it's pretty standard where Phelan are going. Nvision are waiting a bit longer before they swap and just cement where this Ezreal and this Vigar are going to be. Because I prefer the Vigar Pyke bot lane, but they can still switch till a very late point.
So far, they're hovering on that one. We'll see if Mad My Day is going to be running that Ezreal mid. Would be an interesting pickup for them. But like you say, the Pyke Vigar is an incredibly strong bottom lane. The CC chain there is absolutely absurd. But also, the damage that you can get out of this Vigar, especially if you start to build those items early on in the game. Suddenly, you spike incredibly hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And the burst later on can be monstrous. You have a ton of scaling on the side of Nvision, and if it is this Ezreal mid lane against the Syndra, you outrange her pretty heavily. Your shove isn't quite as good, but you can constantly poke her out. That's something that Syndra massively struggles against, is just constant chipping to her health bar. She has that open mobile mage, and if she can't get in range of you, she's going to have a rough time, and Ezreal obviously very safe, able to keep those ranges consistently.
Yeah, interesting to see that it is the Ezreal mid, though. There are a few marksmen that you can take to the mid lane. Things like the Tristana, things like the Lucian as well. We've seen going towards the mid lane Corki as well. But if you're wanting the AD damage, Corki doesn't quite fill that spot in the same way. But I guess the key point is Ezreal is not really the one that we see in the mid lane.
True. Yeah, it's not usually the one we see in the mid lane. I think there are other options, but I think if you're looking at something that can stay a safe range away from the Syndra, with the Arcane Shift, it should be impossible for a Scatter the Weak to land and keep you stunned in place, because you should at least channel it to get away. It remains to be seen, but clearly this is something Nvision feel confident on. They have a ton of skill in the composition. They have a lot of skirmish power on the backs of having the Vigar cage and the Pyke. Will it be enough?
It's time to find out. Nvision want to equalize things, and they've gone for a very odd pick with the Ezreal in the mid lane, but Phelan had a fantastic first game in the series, and they're looking to close things out 2-0 here if they can keep up this momentum. So now everyone's stepping forward onto the Rift. And I'm really curious about how this bottom lane is going to go. The bottom lane was absolutely one of the highlights in the last game. We saw Achu and Jepahouse, absolutely taking over on the Ezreal Yuumi. This time they're on the Kai'Sa Thresh, and it's more about Spark and Proper Panda. They're the one with the much more oppressive composition. The question is, can they snowball in the way their opponents did in game 1?
I think one of the things with the Vigar Pyke is you have to wait a bit before you sort of have the tools that you can use effectively. It's really cheap power spike for Spark to pick up that GLP. It's much cheaper than a Luden's, cheaper than a Seraph's. It is the cheaper the mana items. So once he has that unlocked with Glacial Augment, it's a really powerful combo to set up picks or skirmishes or the cage. And Proper Panda, I want to see a better game from him, because I think Pyke is arguably, well, Pyke is harder than Thresh. So there's more windows sort of to make it, more mechanics that you sort of have to land to make the champion important. With Thresh, even if you aren't able to hit things, Flay is pretty reliable, Lantern's pretty reliable. With a Pyke, if you overstep, you will get blown up. Roman is a massive proponent of playing this champion, and also it's landing that hook is a massive part of the kit. So be interesting to see how he does on this champion. I want a better performance out of this bot lane. That is not how you start it.
Achu step in front of the minions just to try and bait the hook there, and does manage to get it out. Mad My Day pushing pretty aggressively in this mid lane, but will have to back up a little bit. Soft going to be on this Rek'Sai, and I'm excited to see how Soft is going to do. He did a better job than Antero last time around. He was on that Lee Sin. This time he's against the Lee Sin.
I wouldn't say so in the early game. I feel like Antero had a better early game than Soft. So, you know, yes, Soft came into his own in the later stages, but for me, Antero started the game off stronger. And it was just the Yumi Ezreal was impossible for Antero to deal with. Here, he has the counter matchup, so I expect Soft to be in a comfortable position. I expect him to be able to take over this matchup. Now pings are coming out from Nvision. They expect Soft to be in his blue side jungle, but instead he's going fishing. They might just look towards the bot lane right now for a dive.
Soft wanting to start things off strong. Jepeha will be hooked on in, but nobody tanking the tower just yet. Proper Panda will dash away with his life, and Jepeha taking a lot of damage. Ward over the wall, dodges away from the damage.
That's a really ambitious dive, and I think the call was purely made because Spark didn't have the cage, which is the one window you can realistically go for that, because as soon as the cage is available, it's so difficult to dive a Veigar. So they found that window to sort of apply some pressure. It didn't pay off. Jepeha got poked out pretty heavily, and they will back away. But this has put Soft a little bit behind just in terms of the speed at which he's getting through the jungle. He now heads over to his blue side, but Antero is already making work of the Scuttle Crab and is able to support Mad My Day, who... The important thing is, you're going this aggressive on the Ezreal, you're constantly jumping forwards and challenging the Syndra. You need your jungler to be there to back you up, otherwise you will be challenged.
Interesting that Mad My Day actually allowed that wave to go into the tower there, I think. But here we go, Antero heading up towards the top lane. Bear Tree is on the wrong side of this fight. We'll be able to get the hop over, flashes away as well, but there's the flash. First blood for Artorias.
Good setup, and it was just Bear Tree overstepping this lane. You're playing into a melee champion pre-level 6, so you feel confident. But Artorias walks up, sets the bait, and Bear Tree goes down. And you do not want to give an early kill over to this Kale. Such a strong champion in later stages. And as soon as it hits 6, you can go toe-to-toe with the Gnar. You have more range than him actually at level 6.
Yeah, definitely do. The Boomerang's still quite a long cooldown before you manage to max that ability. Soft has head towards the Krugs here in the bottom lane, but Proper Panda does not want to let him get away with that one. Dodges away from the stun, gets hooked on back though. Spark does not have the cage available and actually gets hooked himself. Void Seeker goes on in. The damage is there and Soft grabs the kill. Proper Panda now tries to swim himself to safety and will be able to do so.
I just don't get why you don't skill the cage. It's like the strongest ability in the game. I understand not leveling up the Dark Matter if you want 2 points in your queue, but you need the cage. It's broken. Get that, especially when you know Soft is putting so much pressure down. It shows maybe a lack of experience from Spark playing this champion. Cage should now be available.
Oh, nice hook coming through from Jepeha. Cage comes on in. Proper Panda so low. Void Seeker still on cooldown, so they can't quite finish that one off.
Honestly, just a lot of misplays coming out from Nvision's bot lane already. This is a strong combo. Not quite yet. This isn't where it really spikes. But even so, Phelan shouldn't be able to find so much pressure. It is purely just misplays from Nvision, but Phelan are doing well to sort of capitalize.
This is going to be the opportunity for Phelan to head on back to base by the looks of things. Grab themselves some items. 15 CS lead down in that bottom lane to start things off. The rest of the board a little bit closer, but with Bear Tree having a small CS lead, but the kill going the way of Artorias.
And Artorias now at the point where he has access to the range. And Bear Tree Mega meaningly loses access, so the first time it's gone the other direction, and Artorias able to abuse that advantage. Nvision going to look towards this Ocean Dragon, a massive one to pick up in the early levels, as we highlighted on last game, and in response, Soft really not able to do much other than take a Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, we'll take that Scuttle up towards the top side, but obviously Artorias not only is close to his tower, but is playing Kale and has level 6. It's an incredibly difficult gank, even if they're out of position. And Soft decides he has to just go back and farm his jungle. So nice punish there from Nvision, recognizing that they can just take that objective with no contestation available from Phelan.
Good read, and it's going to help them out in the laning phase, especially since all three of these solo laners pretty mana reliant. Next Dragon's going to be a mountain, a big one to pick up for later in the game.
Nice stun coming out there from Chimera in this mid lane. Doing a good job of staying up in farm against Mad My Day on the Ezreal. So far, the unconventional mid lane pick from Mad My Day. Not too much to talk about in regards to it.
But it has stayed safe. And you're up against a Syndra, which is one of these champions who can really punish a lot of matchups. The fact he's staying safe and will scale into a mid-game monster I'd be perfectly happy with that situation. Now, Chimera does have access to that ultimate, a lot of burst damage. But you're still looking towards that level 9 as that big spike when you have the max Dark Sphere for the bonus damage to champions. Because for now, being a lot of mana, but not hitting a lot of skill shots. And even when he does, you saw that stun that you talked about earlier, it didn't do that much damage.
Oh, hook comes in from Jeppei will follow that one up, but he's stuck inside the baby cage, and that is a ton of damage. Jeppei forced to flash.
Yeah, good moves coming out. You have to respect the cage from the Vigor. Keeps him trapped in there.
Mad My Day already used his Arcane Shift. Flash available for him. Antero going to be here to try and support his mid laner, but he might be caught out himself instead. Looks like both will walk away, but the stun comes on through. Chimera will have that power available to him. And there comes Soft with the ultimate.
And you got to remember that recently Ezreal was nerfed. The cooldown on his Arcane Shift was moved up to 23 seconds before you put any points in it. And you can see that there. Yes, Mad My Day able to use his Arcane Shift in his flash, but waiting so long for another round of cooldowns, and Phelan just able to chase him down through his own topside jungle.
Soft going for this pick of the Rek'Sai in the draft. It's something that's good against the Lee Sin, and so far he's showing that he knows this matchup. He knows that he can be aggressive on this jungle pick. He's constantly been in Nvision's jungle, and he's trying to turn this game into a victory. He wants to snowball into a 2-0.
That's the thing. You do not want to give momentum to the other side. We saw it happen between XL and Barrage. Team who got the momentum in the second game, able to pull through. Phelan want to close this game out and move on to the next stage of the tournament. And it would mean so much to them as an organization because they made a massive run through the gauntlet in the UKLC summer split, but they weren't able to get to the finals. They got knocked down by XL, but now XL are no longer in this competition. So Phelan, you got to feel like you have really good chances here if you can play like you were in the gauntlet to be able to make it all the way and challenge Fnatic Rising. But it all starts here. It all starts with you beating out Nvision. Game 1 was a success, even though the early game was a bit up and down. But here, looking to have a stronger early start. 1,500 is a lead, and you gotta look at Soft on this Rek'Sai. 2-0. This is a champion who is so strong in these skirmishes around this point of the game.
Jeppei, the new member on the squad as well, so far looking to make a statement as he grabs the stun there onto Made My Day. But he will be able to walk away with his life. The Lantern pulls his mid lane to safety as Artorias has to burn his teleport.
You say has to burn his teleport? I don't think he had to. I think he felt obliged to, but I think they definitely could have gotten away with that one. It was a really good Arcane Shift from Mad My Day to avoid the pressure, but either way, Artorias now in a position to move down bot.
Bear Tree flashes away.
Kick.
Nice inset coming on through. So many stuns. Spark grabs himself a kill.
And they get the Pike ult reset, so more gold over to Proper Panda as well. It's definitely a Moneybank's lane. With the AP from shutdowns going to Spark and the gold from ults going to Proper Panda, they're able to not only get that, but they're looking with 4 members just to hack away at this turret. And yes, the Rift Howl goes to the Phelan, but they've already got so many people whacking away at this tower. I think Nvision are just going to win out the tower race.
They might well do get the tower race down for themselves. Looks like this should be the first blood going their way. They have run out of minions here. They will finally finish that one off. So, first tower blood going their way. The Rift Tower goes up towards this top side, so it might just be traded here. There's not actually a ton of damage for this final play, though. The final play is so difficult to get through.
It's so tanky. And you can see Rift Tower getting chipped away. He's not really going to be able to offer much at all. I think just survives, but he's so low. He's probably going to die before he gets to the next tower. Now, Nvision looking.
Jeppei hooks on to Antero, but immediately that Divine Intervention keeps him alive, but only for so long. Chimera finishes him off as Soft jumps on into the fray. Artorias the next target. No ultimate available. He'll be the next one to go down. Fantastic fight so far for Phelan, and they want more as well. Proper Panda hanging around in the brush, but they can't find the pick.
And this is a situation where Nvision just massively overstepped. Like, Spark and Proper Panda had recalled. So why are you looking for a fight there for no reason at all? Nvision, Antero and Artorias, 2 of the new members of the roster, making a really questionable decision. And in the end, feeling punished. They get 2 kills and they're rewarded with a Mountain Dragon.
Phenomenal play so far coming out from Phelan. They're doing a great job of snowballing the lead they found early, but Proper Panda wants to play and he's found it. Good chunk of gold going to him and Mad My Day.
That is what I wanted to see from Proper Panda. That is some confident playmaking and some reliable skill shots he's hitting. I was a bit concerned when I saw him taking the pike, but he has looked good so far. And Nvision finding a window to punish in the mid lane. He ain't looking like they want to answer here, though.
Ooh, that hook was very close from Jepahau. Soften a chewer on the wings.
But look at the state of the map. You see in the top side Spark farming up. You see in the bot side Artorias farming up. This is a perfect setup. Yes, the play doesn't happen in the mid lane, but Phelan bring 4 members there. So in return, Nvision are farming up, able to pick up those waves on their scaling carries. And Phelan pull their numbers together essentially for nothing.
So far, so good for Phelan. They've got a CS lead in all 3 lanes. The jungle is dead even in CS, but heavily in favor of Soft when it comes to those kills. They got themselves a Mountain Drake. They've got themselves a minuscule gold lead overall. But things are feeling pretty good for them, especially in terms of the control of the map right now. Oh, Jepahau's caught though. And Tero finds the Sonic Wave. Proper Panda decides he has to back away. A Chew arrives. It scares them off.
Yeah, not feeling confident. They don't have location on Soft, so they have to respect the Rek'Sai. As I said, super strong in these skirmishes right now, but also 3-0-1. Extremely strong. They respect it and back away.
Worth mentioning as well that not only has Antero hit the spike of the Warrior enchant on the Lee Sin, but also Spark has hit a massive spike of that GLP on the Vigard. Now Glacial Augment, his mastery, is going to come online. And it's such a huge slow that you get from landing that GLP alongside a Glacial Augment. You pretty much guarantee a stun out of your cage.
Absolutely, especially in mobile champions like this Thresh.
Proper Panda just misses the hook, but Jepahau will not do the same. Instantly finds himself a kill. Mad My Day trying to find the damage with this Ezreal. Sonic Wave onto Chimera, but there's no way that he can follow that one through.
That was not the mechanics I was looking for from Proper Panda. That was definitely a bit scuffed. Ends up getting taken down, but good execution for Phelan. Bringing Chimera in just to burst him through and ensure this Pike has no chance of escaping. Now it's Nvision who have to bring all their members in. You can see the side waves being caught by Beartree and Achu. It was a perfect setup for Phelan to get a good play on because they managed to get away with it. But now Soft is looking.
Soft wants yet another kill for himself. Divine Intervention comes on through and Soft waits beautifully with his ultimate. Will go down in exchange for his sins right there. Jepahau flashes away, but there's no way out. Or is there? Blast Cone is available, but Proper Panda gets the reset, gets his ultimate off.
Good punish from Nvision, but honestly, it could have been even better. That was, I'm going to say, you say it was a good wait from Soft for the ultimate, but why would you ult as Artorias when you're out of range of the Rek'Sai unless he's gone untargetable? So really, Artorias showing a bit of nerves there, pressing it too early, but Nvision managed to punish overall, and now they're looking for some damage in the mid lane tower. Chimera gotta be careful. We'll land a stun on the Proper Panda to dissuade him. But the big thing is that, yes, this play up went off for Nvision, but in the side lanes, Phelan were able to find advantages. So Chu got that bot lane tower. Beartree able to shove up top.
One thing that is important to mention is Spark got the bounty that was on Soft right there. He had 5 kills when he went down. So Spark, getting a good chunk of gold into his pocket. Very important that that goes onto the Vigard as well. And importantly, if Soft goes down early in these fights, he actually has so much of his team's gold right now because he has all of their kills.
Apart from the one on Beartree, but yeah, a ton. And instantly on that recall, Spark picks up the Spooky Ghosts, even more synergy with that Glacial Augment, and also more CDR as the main thing. Should be, depending on if he has the rune or not, either 35 or 45% at this point. And that means his Q going to be a really short cooldown, and also the cage, as he starts putting points in it, it's going to be on such a short cooldown.
Beartree wants a 1v1 right now onto Artorias. Won't quite find the extra slow. Flashes for the wallop. Teleport going to be channeled by Mad My Day. So Beartree, you can consider that a success.
Definitely can. You get 2 summoners out of that play. You do burn your own flash. The TP from Mad My Day as well, pretty stellar. But now, 8 seconds on the Infernal. Both teams posturing a fight for this one. TP available for both top laners, but no flashes. And they will come down to a pretty heavy fight around this. Spooky Ghost available for Spark. That's what I'm looking for when he presses that button and goes for the slows.
Infernal Drake started up here by Phelan. The hook from Jetbayhow doesn't quite land the flay, but will be able to keep himself alive for now. How much longer, though? Finished off by the likes of Proper Panda. He's got the reset, and how many more kills can he get? Dragon Rage over the wall. You just saved Achu's life. Disaster for Antero. And onto the Infernal Drake once again. 1-for-1 for now. Chimera trying to dish out the damage. Proper Panda flashes and misses the hook. He's going to be punished for his sins. And now onto Mad My Day. In goes Soft. Divine Intervention. Not going to be enough. Bear Tree slams him on down. A rock goes in and Spark will fall. Artorias, the last member alive.
And Phelan crushed them in that team fight. They find all the advantages. They outplay them mechanically. Nvision lose 4 members and the Infernal. And now some of their structures in mid.
I predicted Nvision coming on in, but it's all going the way of Phelan. Artorias just gets out with his life, but the tower will not be so lucky. Phenomenal play coming out from Phelan so far. They are snowballing this game towards a victory already. 3,000 gold lead. They've got an Infernal and a Mountain, and they have total map dominance.
We'll get a replay of this one, and great hook from Jetbayhow, but he does commit heavily, and Nvision able to back away and pick him off. And then it's just Antero. Stays a bit too long, and then Achu goes in, and as you said, the kick away puts him back to safety. And here's where I feel like Nvision should have just given up and accepted their fate. But Proper Panda wants to make the hero play onto Chimera, misses critically, costs him his life, and now Phelan feel confident just to go aggressive. They have the numbers advantage. They still have a lot of tools available to them, and yes, the Divine Intervention comes in, but it's just not enough.
Hey man, Proper Panda is not having a fun game today. He's had a couple of unfortunate misplays. He's had some real good highlights this game. He's also had some really high lowlights this game. So kind of hit or miss so far for him. He needs to up that consistency if he wants to be able to find a way back into this game. So far, Phelan continuing to snowball. They got the tier 2 in the mid lane, which is going to open up a lot of this jungle for them. They're going to be able to push on forward and get much more aggressive vision.
Game definitely still possible for Nvision. They have the Kale, they have the Vigar, they have the Pike, champions that do scale extraordinarily well. But it's just getting to that point. The big objective on the cards will be that Baron. Now they are looking to the bot lane for Achu.
Achu left out completely alone here. They might be able to shut him on down. Artorias going to happily dish out the damage while Proper Panda grabs the kill, gives that gold over to Artorias as well. And there's just a perfect little pick there from Nvision.
Absolutely. It looked like it could have been a bit precarious at a point, but the ult from Artorias ensures that there's no way he goes down, and now he's able to get a ton of gold, as is Proper Panda. Phelan kind of lose a bit of their pressure on the map, but pings are coming out on the Baron. I'm sure you want to start that one right now.
Artorias does not have his teleport available, and Proper Panda is on the bottom side of the map as well.
And that was why we saw Chu on the bot side, because he does have that TP, and they sent 2 members to punish. If Phelan were confident, they would instantly rush the Baron, but they're going to do that now. They're TPing in.
Teleport in from Achu and straight onto this Baron. They know for a fact there is no vision available from NVE.
And you got to remember they have a Mountain as well, so they do shred through this pretty happily. You can see the Kaiser passive just shredding the Baron.
Wow, what a play coming out from Phelan. Excellent map control. They understand the situation. They know that they can get the 2v1 because Soft is so far ahead, and Kaiser with 2 items is already going to be able to burst that down.
And just the fact they have the Mountain, it makes such a difference. If Nvision were able to secure that earlier, the play just wouldn't be as possible, but they have the damage. They managed to shut down the Baron, and they pick up a massive objective for themselves. And there's still only 2k gold ahead. There's still a lot of scaling on Nvision, but there's a great call to go for that. Feeling rewarded massively, but now we've got to see what can they do with this Baron.
Nvision all posturing very aggressively around this bottom side of the map. They want a pick of their own. Dragon going to be spawning in 50 seconds, and they don't want to give this objective up. They're 3,000 gold down, but if they can find a pick, they could certainly find a fight for themselves. And let's bear in mind, Artorias is now level 12, has his 2nd level in his ultimate.
And critically means he will be able to get those empowered waves when he's built up the attack speed. Spark getting closer and closer to that level 13 when the cage is maxed. The max duration on the stun, but also the shorter cooldown. Right now, Nvision just need to hold on. They need more levels, they need more gold, but then they will be strong enough to fight. For now, Phelan the ones in control.
Down the mid lane they go. Beartree walks away with his life as everyone tries to force an engage up on the top side of the map. Soft stepping on forward and a lot of damage already going down onto this middle inhibitor tower. Good little reset here from Phelan. They understand that they can't take it immediately. They can just wait for the next wave. This is such great map play coming out from the side of Phelan, the Irish powerhouse. We were questioning whether this would be the same team without Wisdom, without Pad on the roster. So far, they are looking exceptional. Beartree, though, being engaged on by Nvision, dodges away from the Sonic Wave. Artorias going to use that Divine Intervention, not just misses, as does the Rock coming out there as well. But in the meantime, the rest of the team takes the mid lane.
Yeah, they get that mid lane tower. Looking for the inhibitor now. The cage is a match of threat. Is on cooldown, though. Waiting a little bit of time before it's up and available again.
All right, Mad My Day jumps on in here. Nvision don't want to give this up, but I'm not sure if they can win this team fight right now. I'm not sure that they have the strength behind them. Phelan trying to find a way in. Stun not quite going to be there. Antero finds a Sonic Wave onto Chimera. Could look for a Dragon Rage here. Is not going to commit to the fight just yet. The cannon will be chipping away at the inhibitor this whole time, and Beartree just going to keep on pushing up in the top lane. Stun lands onto the likes of a Chew. A lot of damage, but no follow-up.
Looked like it could have been a close one, but the burst isn't quite there. But speaking of burst, a lot of damage on a Spark.
Yeah, good chunk coming out of him. Won't find the stun for himself. Beartree going in onto Artorias, but actually he's stuck in a really awkward spot. He's going to be going down, shut down into the pocket of Mad My Day.
And the Pykel to collect even more gold. They don't get the inhibitor. They are now heading over to this Mountain Dragon, but it's a 5v4 on the map. And there are some low health bars on the side of Phelan. Remember, Nvision can just base, but they also have the Ocean to heal themselves up. Now, they're looking for a pick on Antero.
Proper Panda will have the reset still available for a few more seconds. It's just now timed out. Mountain Drake on the map. There's only 3 players here from Phelan. Soft down in that bottom lane right now. This is not an objective that I think they can force right now. Antero wants to contest this very happily. But Phelan are not going to give up just yet. Soft's arrived on the scene. Spark drops out the stun, but it's not quite going to connect to anyone. Chimera still hanging around on the scene. The dragon resets. And that honey fruit is going to be so important for Phelan. They can regroup, they can set up, and they can take this objective.
And Nvision willing to give over the second mountain in return for that top lane tower, but Phelan, they now have advantage on this play. They're going to move straight bot lane, and Nvision on the wrong side of the map for this.
Oh my goodness, Phelan, this map presence, this exceptional macro play coming out from them. They take absolutely everything here, and now onto the inhibitor tower. Artorias cannot defend this alone. The tower will go down.
And Nvision are left scrabbling back to the base, not understanding what's going on, but the play might come out here.
Time for a fight. Antero kicks on in, jumps into the fight. Jeppe House solo and will be finished on off. The reset comes through for Proper Panda. Soft the target next. A lot of damage coming out from Mad My Day, but Proper Panda not quite finding the ult. Beartree now going to be engaged on, but he's about to go mega. And Artorias wants to find his way onto this Gnar. Blast Cone will keep him safe as a Chew slow down. Proper Panda pulls him back on in. And Mad My Day dishing out the damage right here. Beartree regroups to the rest of the team. All things considered, only 1 kill so far, but Proper Panda wants to find himself some more. Channeling the hook, but not quite going to connect.
A lot of chase potential, but I'm not sure how much further Nvision want to go. And at the end of all that, they get 1 kill. They lose that bot lane inhibitor tower. Only the top lane inhibitor tower left, and it looks very low on HP. Nvision, questionable decisions. I understand the call not to contest that Mountain Dragon, but to run all the way up mid for a red buff. A red buff was what they got out of that. Really questionable.
Proper Panda will walk away with his life here. Important thing to mention for Nvision. For all the Nvision fans watching right now, no inhibitors have gone down. Twice now, Phelan have been sieging onto the base. Twice they've got an inhibitor turret, but they have not finished either of those objectives. So, Baron will be contestable. There is no split push pressure coming out from just minions alone right now. Beartree does have teleport though, so he'll be down in that bottom lane. Importantly, Artorias is on this Kayle, and every single fight he's getting stronger and stronger. Oh, in he goes. Divine Intervention does a good chunk of damage. It's traded 1-for-1 so far. Soft stunned, though. Got the tunnel away. Betry about to go. Mega turns himself golden just to survive 4 now. And now he goes in. 2 stuns coming on through. And that's going to be another kill. Spot goes down as Betry pushes on forward. And everything is looking Phelan right now. Mad My Day has to back away. He's in a 1 versus 4, though. There's a beautiful stun from Chimera. And Mad My Day will go down.
Phelan find a great team fight. Yes, Achu gets taken out, but the rest of the team are there. And they're able to deal with Nvision. They cut through them, and they're looking to end the game here and now.
I said that they couldn't find these inhibitors just yet, but caught out of position. Antero went for the miracle play with the Divine Intervention on, but it was nowhere near enough. And Phelan clamped down their jaws on this game. Chimera caught out the Lantern, not able to be grabbed underneath those minions there. Now Beartree engaged onto. Good knocker comes out onto Antero. The reset's coming through, though, from Proper Panda. Teleport coming on in as Beartree is stunned on up. Oh, the Vigar stun denies the Lantern, and Beartree will eventually go down here. Artorias with the double.
Oh, but you see Achu in the base. What is the TP from Artorias? Look at your base.
Towards the mid lane. This is a disaster.
Look
coming
at your
out.
base.
Achu is destroying this game right now. Proper Panda cannot go in. It's a 1v1 from Achu straight onto Mad My Day. Now on towards the Nexus. Achu does have to retreat. The slow coming in from Spark, but look at the damage Achu can dish out onto these players. QSS to keep himself alive. Artorias has the damage to finish the player off.
What?
I don't know what on earth just happened there.
What?
The teleport from Artorias.
It blows my mind. Literally, Achu is taking your base, takes both your Nexus towers, and he's like, guys, let's go mid. What is Nvision's obsession with going mid after everything? And now they're going to start this Baron up, but Soph is there.
Divine Intervention is available for Artorias, and they're onto this Baron already. Important, Rage Blades will be stacked here from the side of Nvision. Spark has a ton of damage at this late stage in the game. Half HP on the Baron, but Phelan, they're starting to outnumber at this stage. Stun comes in from Spark, but it's onto no one. Very defensive play from him. Antero has to smite just to keep himself alive right here. Divine Intervention in. Jeppe House survives the fight. Spark goes golden, but not for long. Antero will not be able to escape this one. Soft looking for a prey seeker. Jeppe House looking to cut him off, and Mad My Day is just swarmed in minions. He can't clear the waves. And what a way to go down. Phelan 2-0. I can't believe this is a sea of minions at the end, ending the game by themselves. You okay there, buddy? We've got full Walt Disney over here.
I am shocked. I've got to give compliments to Phelan. Okay, there were some messy bits in that later end of that fight, but they came together, they performed well. But Nvision, what was that?
Unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunate way for that one to end there for Nvision. They had some moments of glory. They had moments where it looked fantastic. And also, the Lee Sin coming out, there was a couple of really good Dragon Rages, but there was also a couple of really not had some great good pike play.
There was some mistakes, but there was definitely some better pike play. There was life in this roster, and it's a good omen. Because remember, this isn't the end of the road for them. They will go towards relegations where they're fighting for their spot in the league. So, was some good signs for that, but definitely some questionable decision making. It's like, you don't always have to push mid. You know, we're not NA. You don't have to NA around it every time you find an opportunity to. There are other lanes. And I think they learned that the hard way in this situation.
Yeah, and I think as well, Antero, during that team fight where the Divine Intervention comes onto him after he's been caught out and his
like,
Sonic Wave is in, he's like, my mind's telling me no. Just dives on in with the Divine Intervention. It almost worked.
I mean, I think it would have worked better if his whole team didn't flash after him. And then they were suddenly like, wait, our Vigar now has no flash and the enemy team is there. And it's like, suboptimal. But, you know, it was an interesting series. And Phelan, I feel like they've shown they still have some of the same stuff from the Gauntlet. It's still, obviously, 4 members of the same team. They brought in the new coach, Phelan. They brought in Jeppe Howe, and he looked pretty solid throughout this entire series.
His Thresh especially was fantastic. Landed a lot of really great hooks. His Lanterns were pretty great. Unfortunately, not everyone able to click them, but his lanterns were there. But I think importantly, the map play is still there. Phelan still great decision making, using heralds in these games as well, and showing that they know how to take these objectives.
And it was compounded by Nvision's poor map decisions. It's like, it's polar opposite to, they make the call, oh, let's TP a Chew in to push the inhibitor. And it's like, under normal circumstances, that's a smart move. But when Artorias is like, I'm TPing mid, I've got to go, it just makes it even better. So, I mean, maybe it will be more of a challenge when they go up against M&M. That is going to be a pretty big test, because last time they faced, Phelan did manage to beat M&M 2-1. It was a close one. I feel like on the current form, what I've seen today, I would favor M&M, but I definitely think it's going to be a close one.
It's going to be an interesting series, that is for sure. And as you said, it's a grudge match right now, because M&M, they were the favorites back in the gauntlet. Phelan upset the apple cart by bringing that one out, and we'll see if that's going to be the same this time around. Let's take a look at our bracket and where we stand at the end of today's games, because we've had some pretty interesting matchups across the course of today. I was predicting Nvision, you were predicting Nvision. They have gone down in the end, and that means Phelan moved forward 2-0, as well as M&M. They'll be going up against each other in a couple of weeks' time. And we also have Barrage going up against Diabolus. Barrage looked pretty great. Obviously, XL, questionable drafts and whatnot. They were messing around a little bit. Barrage still showing that they're able to take down a team of that caliber.
Yeah, and I think there are definitely some issues with every single team here, little teething issues, things that need to be worked on. But they have over a week to work on that, to shore up these issues. And they have time to prepare for the next matchup and say, look, we've seen a lot from them. Every single team has displayed a fair amount of their strengths, of their weaknesses in these games. It comes down to who is going to do the better preparation, because I think all four of these teams have strong players on them. It's definitely no question to say which one will come out on top and go up to challenge Fnatic Rising. That any single one of them could do it comes down to how well they prepare and how well they use this time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you guys missed any of the action that's been happening across the course of today and yesterday, make sure you check out our YouTube channel. That's going to be where all of the VODs are available for you. That's going to be LVP UK LOL. You can check out all of the videos. I would recommend watching the XL Barrage series from yesterday. May not be peak League of Legends, but it's definitely entertaining League of Legends. That's going to be available on that YouTube channel. But also, let us know what your predictions are. Hashtag Forge of Champions is where you can get in touch with us, and it's also going to be at LVP UK LOL as well. Get involved in the conversation. Let us know who you think the favorites are, because we have some matchups in our semi-finals that I don't think people were really expecting. It's going to be an interesting set of series as we jump into the next week of Forge of Champions.
Yeah, and we do have our MVP for the series, which is Soft. Had a lot of strong performances in the jungle, picking up the Lee Sin and the Rek'Sai. Solid performer, and a lot of the strengths, particularly for their comebacks in the mid game, or even when they had strengths in the early game for the side of Phelan. I gotta say though, if you're interested in letting us know who the unsung hero is for today, I feel like honestly Jeppe Howe is definitely a stand-up performer for that.
Yeah,
you can also let us know on Twitter. You'll be able to vote for it. Who do you think wasn't recognized? And it's not necessarily just gonna be from the winning teams. If there's someone who you think they did a lot of work, but they were unable to pull through, you can let us know that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Hashtag Forge of Champions for that one on Twitter. But that is going to be it from us. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We'll be back in a couple of weeks' time. We've got a 1 week off due to all of the shenanigans with Worlds that are happening currently on the Riot Games channel. But we'll be back in a couple of weeks to find out who's going to take our semi-finals and move forward in the bracket. I've been Munchables. This has been Orcs, and we've had Hitbrain on the show as well. Make sure you tune in a couple of weeks' time, and we'll see you then.